Hey guys, so joining us on the Celebrity Couch today, we have...
Peter Tonks. I'm a location manager and the director of Life in the Dead Zone.
So film and TV is no stranger to you. I see you've worked in the industry for a long time. How did it all start?
How did it all start? Okay, I actually went to film school back in Christchurch. So when it was above the Ducks Deluxe, it was an awesome year. Like, I don't know, forget which year it was, but it was way back. And third year of the film school. The film school itself is now the one that's in Wellington. So I think it went bust about 10 years after I did it and then come up here. But it was a fantastic year. We got to shoot film and met a lot of people. A lot of the students I was in the course with are working in the film industry still. So it was fun. Ducks Deluxe downstairs is always good vegetarian food and bands playing.
So basically you went to course up above Ducks Deluxe, and then afterwards, because you got so much information, you went downstairs for a few?
Yeah. Well, I don't actually drink alcohol, so I wasn't really... But I'm a vegetarian, and it was just a good place to hang out. Like the art centre back in those days was good fun.
Tell me, what was it like working on Lord of the Rings?
It was pretty damn good, actually. It was a bit of a changer as far as, you learnt a lot. There's a whole big difference from, before that I was working on Cloud9 sort of kids TV shows, and then went to that one. It was just the budgets were way bigger. We probably have like 10 vehicles, and then on Cloud9, and then Lord of the Rings, 100 vehicles you had to sort of manage. So it was a pretty amazing experience actually, because it just put you to a whole new level, sort of put you up there with the on the global market, really, I suppose. Got to work with this great guy, Zane Weiner, he's sort of the PM, one of the American guys that come over, and he was a bit of a hard stick, that guy, but just had a lot of knowledge. Barry Osborne, those sort of guys, just, like, as you know, they worked on things like Apocalypse Now and so forth. So, it was just pretty amazing to be sitting in offices with them and, getting their experience, and also, meeting with Pete and that as well, and all that. So it was pretty good. Yep.
Did you start on that movie from start to finish?
No, I didn't actually. I got asked to start with, and I had to turn it down because I was on another job and I'd sort of just committed to them. So I came on about 3 or 4, maybe it might have been 6 months later. I missed out on the first little push, but I came on after that. There's about 3 of us location managers that were doing it, and there was a location coordinator. So we just got jumped from location to location, so it didn't matter too much. I mean, obviously I probably missed out on some of the more bigger locations at that point because I was coming in late, but I went on to do the pickups, like I did the Two Towers and the Return of the King, so I was kind of the only guy around when they got the Return of the King, because it was just sort of pickups. They had shot a lot of the stuff in the initial shoot.
So you did location scouting?
It was mainly location managing to start with, because most of the scouting was done for the first one. But when it got to the Return of the King, it was pickups, so I did do a lot of scouting at that point as well. So I was just sort of doing both sides of it at that point.
So what's sort of involved? Obviously, you go around New Zealand and you look at locations that might fit certain, Alan Lee kind of illustrations, I suppose.
Yep.
But what's really involved in that kind of job?
Because most of the big locations, were all done at that stage. So because I was Wellington based, I didn't do a lot of the big scouts. I was sort of trying to find the they hadn't quite finished shooting at one location, so I had to find little snippets for the bigger locations. So like one example was when Aragorn falls off the side of the hill when he's being chased by those monsters. He landed in a riverbed, and they'd shot some stuff down south, but they wanted to do close-ups, and all I had to really find was sort of a bouldery sort of river, so I had to just go around and look for the rivers and find the close-ups. We ended up going to Upper Hutt, just down there by what's that area called Brown Owl, just tucked into a little thing there. So I was sort of more or less just finding little spots so we could do. Peter didn't want to go too far out of Wellington. Like Peter's time got very expensive back in those days, and the less travel and the less distance he had to travel, it was very important actually.
Season 1, I spoke to Jake and Chester,
Yep.
a couple of very good friends of mine, about Life in the Dead Zone, the creativity behind it and whatnot. Recently, I spoke to Des, who was one of the lead actors in Life in the Dead Zone.
Yep.
But can you talk to us about Life in the Dead Zone more as a director?
Well, I mean, originally I met Jake because I was working in Christchurch, and Jake was working in a similar field to me in the repairing of the roads in Christchurch. We met up and had an interest in film, so we were talking about actually doing a film. Didn't really matter what film it was. And Jake was working with those, the cameras that go under the sewer lines. You know what Jake does, I suppose. He has the little wee rat cameras that run up and down the sewers. And we'd sort of come up with an idea that we could maybe use those cameras, and we sort of had big slugs coming out of the sewers and things like that. But then one day I met Chester, who I'd never met before, and Chester actually says, "Oh, what about this idea?" And the idea was pretty close to how Life in the Dead Zone ended up. It was just about a council worker that was going around cleaning up zombies in an infected zone. And we just thought, shit, we've got this city that's half wrecked. Obviously a lot of earthquake damage, but we didn't want to show that, so we just sort of showed more the overgrown, the areas that hadn't been touched for 6 months, sort of like Bexley and those sort of places. So there was like streets and streets of just, empty, beat up houses. You get the odd person still living there, but most of the houses were abandoned, so it's great. So we just sort of popped in there. The filming process took a while. We initially did a little test shoot, which we did about 3 or 4 days. None of that footage has been seen yet, but some of that stuff was pretty good. And we just sort of drove around a few streets and did the sort of the catching of the zombies. Jake was in that. Mickey D, who's Gabe, he was sort of a zombie in that one, and we did a bit of a test. Did about 3 or 4 days there, cut it together, worked pretty good, and then we sort of planned for the shoot from there. Probably took us a few more months to get together and start doing that, and then we just kind of shot it over weekends, and it probably took us maybe almost a year. It was a bit of I don't know exactly how long, but we kind of mucked around. We might get together every 2 months and do a weekend sort of thing. So it kind of dragged on a little bit, but it was probably ended up being about 10 days all up, I think. And it was just over the weekend, shoot a few scenes. I used a lot of the first one of the houses we used was the house that I ran my traffic business from, and we just turned that into a set, and then we just areas that me and Jake had been working in around Christchurch that we've been doing the sewer runs with the seeing all the damage and all that sort of stuff down the sewer lines. We'd sort of knew these little great spots around the city, so we just went back there and just sort of made it up on the day really. We had a bit of a storyline, but we just sort of everyone got together and tossed ideas around, and Des sort of took care of the characters, and most of the dialogue was ad-libbed by Des. He's an amazing ad-libber, that guy.
So how did you get the fictional name of Kitworth?
Wow, that was just, I actually went to my the people that do my graphics for most of my companies, like Traffic Wise and that, they Smart Arts they're called, and I just says, look guys, I just need a name of a city council that's not Christchurch, but just come up with some logo and name. And I think actually Ant's come up with just Kitworth. I think he had a couple of names, and I went, Kitworth's great. He thought it up in about a minute, I think. It was a pretty quick decision, really, that one.
How does it feel when, at the end of the day, it's not just your baby, but it's your baby that's got recognised overseas? How does it all feel?
Well, it just kind of makes it, seem more worthwhile. I mean, like when people do like it and appreciate it, get a laugh out of it. I mean, I know it's probably not it's not, not Lord of the Rings or anything, but it's definitely good that, you put it in festivals and, people are willing to sort of say, yeah, we'll accept it and we'll nominate it for something that's great. And I think at this stage we've all had a nomination too, which is great. Des has had the most for his great acting, but I've got a couple for directing, and Chester got one the other day for special effects. Gabe's got a couple of supporting actor, and yeah, Jake's the only one who's missed out so far. We'll have to see what we can do for Jake.
And the award for the most entertaining interview for season 1 goes to Jake. Good one, Jake. There you go. You got something. So you've worked with Mr. Taika Waititi quite a bit.
Yes.
What's it like working with somebody of his skill and knowledge?
Taika's a really relaxed sort of nice guy to work with actually. Didn't work on Two Cars One Night, but I have worked on most of his films. I didn't do Boy, but I did Eagle vs Shark. What came next? I think Boy was next, wasn't it? But I did Wilder People. Did What We Do in the Shadows, and I missed out on Thor, unfortunately. But no, Taika's a lovely guy, and I've also done a lot of ads with Taika, so I have spent a bit of time sort of driving around scouting with him. What's good about Taika, he quite likes sort of jumping in the car and going around scouting, which is nice. Not a lot of people do that, but you sort of just go around and talk about the whole thing, and sort of makes the scouting a bit easier.
So you briefly mentioned it before, but yeah, can you just explain, in general, what unit services actually does?
Okay. So yeah, my day job is Unit Services is the company I own. We do sort of like cafe on set. So Unit sort of does the coffees, the chairs, tables, pop-up tents, all that sort of stuff. So sort of logistics. So we get in. Our job is to be first there. Get the tea ready, get the water boiling, the coffee machine up to speed. First up is make everyone coffees, and then once they all get to work, you take care of morning and afternoon tea, and then you take care of lunch and all that sort of stuff. But you don't do the catering. That's just getting all the seating and all that sort of stuff. And it sort of works in with locations too. So I've started off doing unit for the first 10 years, and then moved into doing locations. But I still own a lot of unit equipment, which is all the chairs and tables and tents and all that sort of stuff.
So I saw that you also worked recently on Pork Pie. Loved the remake with Dino Gorman.
It was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yes, very good. So do you want to talk about the your services and what you did for that as what was it, assistant location manager?
Yes, I think it was on set. They called me. So Robin Murphy was the location manager. Obviously Jeff's daughter and Matt, who directed it, his sister. I worked with Robin quite a bit. Robin was the manager, and she just got me in to be on. So I was just the on-set manager pretty much. So she could go out and preset the upcoming days and so forth. So it was quite a busy little shoot. So I didn't. When you're a location manager, you're always thinking about what's coming up, what's next. You sort of knocking on doors, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But on set, there's always these little problems that come up, like someone's mowing the lawns and they want to stop the sound, or we're filming in the city and you've got to stop all the pedestrians walking through when you're doing a car shot or whatever. So yeah, I was just on set stuff. So I didn't have to think about any of the the upcoming stuff, and didn't have to worry about all that. But I just had to be there on set and be on sort of standby for the director and the first AD to sort problems out. I have a traffic background as well, so I was sort of in charge of a lot of the traffic stuff that was going on in that one, sort of making certain I organised the stop-go people and all that, and sort of made certain that the council knew what was going on and was in charge of making certain the site was set up so we could do what we needed to do for that. There's a lot of stunt driving. We were driving down the roads the wrong way and things like that. And it then turned out pretty good, I thought it was.
I loved it. It was a good film.
I'm surprised it didn't do any better, because it only took in about 1 million or something ridiculous. It didn't even. It's a bit sad because I thought they did a good job.
So you've got a whole extensive range of film experiences. What would you say is your most iconic or your most favourite memory out of all of the ones that you've done?
Working on Lord of the Rings was pretty good. It's just as far as like, it took you to a whole new level of dealing with stuff, and the amount of money they spent was just like we were popping up marquees every day, and it was just insane experience, that one. As far as memory goes, some of my favourite jobs, it's just sort of people I met and that sort of stuff. I mean, one job I had that was really good, but it was way back, I was the driver for John Boy Walton, believe it or not. A guy named Richard Thomas, who was a super lovely guy, and I got to drive him around for 6 months. It was just, that was a very cushy job. One of the best experiences I had, actually, I have to say, I worked on Frighteners, and I was only a security guard on Frighteners because I was sort of a big guy, so it's one of my first jobs. But I got to go to Peter's, I think it was his 40th birthday party, and Michael J. Fox got up and played Johnny B. Good, and I have to say, that was amazing. And he played it like he did in the movie. It was that was a pretty special time. Or special day, I should say.
So it hasn't always just been behind the scenes and driving vehicles and stuff. I heard that you had a cameo in Eagle vs Shark.
Yes, that was a bit of fun. You barely recognised me, but yeah, that was fun. Did you know where it is, or you just heard about it?
I just heard about it, but why don't you tell us where it is?
Okay.
And...
Well, you have to look pretty hard. But I was one of the sort of characters in the game that. There was a game that I've forgotten her name. Who's the main character? Plays. She playing video games in that competition at the party, and there's a bunch of us were the characters inside the video game. So she got to fight different people. I got beat up by her. I played a sort of a 1920s boxer. So I was sort of I think I was in some tights, and I had to just pretend to be an old style boxer. I think I had a fake moustache on there. It was pretty fun. I only took 20 minutes, and I have to admit it turned out pretty good. Tim Capper, who did the special effects, just shot us pretty quick and then made it look pretty amazing, actually.
So has that been your only cameo experience?
I've put my name forward for a few roles in different things, and I've had a few parts over the years, but mainly just sort of featured extra or something. My most sort of memorable part was I was a TUI ad way back in the day, but that was about 20 years ago now, I think. And it was a good ad. It was a good payer. It was sort of a lead role in that, but it was right back where they had the lads sort of thing. I was one of the first 3 lads that were in the TUI commercials, and I don't drink alcohol, so it was a weird one to be doing. Promoting alcohol when you don't drink, it's not good. But it was fun.
So Jake mentioned to me the other day, and I didn't quite understand what he meant, but he said that you were in the behind the scenes for Kong.
Yeah, on Kong I was the location unit manager, and there was they did the diaries of the filming of Kong, and I'm in a couple of those, but I think there's one where they sort of feature my department, so I'm in that episode. It's been a while since I saw that, but yeah, if you get out the Kong diaries. There's a 2 DVD set. I'm one of those. A bit fat and chubby in those days, so I cringe when I see it. But
my mate's got the production diaries, so maybe I'm going to have to hit him up and be like, "Yeah, I'll put it on," and then I'll take a photo. And
I can't even tell you which one it is, sorry, but yeah, it'll be the location one, whichever. Yeah.
And what's coming up for Mr. Tonks?
Okay. Yeah, I've been working on a few scripts for features. I've just got to find people now to trust me to make a feature, and that's a hard process. Obviously, Life in the Dead Zone hopefully will help, but I just don't know how seriously people will take. The funding people will take Life in the Dead Zone. I'm not. Yeah, I'll just get out there and try and push those. I mean, me and Des did another short film that you may not have seen. That's called The Sunshine Man, which we quite enjoyed doing. I've got a feature written for that, so. Which is kind of a fun little idea. So I want to push that one, but it's kind of a reasonably big budget sort of extravaganza. So I think I've got to build up a bit of more confidence in the funding people before I can maybe do that one. But it's a pretty fun little piece, a bit like that. Have you seen that film came out last year? Is it Upgrade or what's it called? Oh, I've forgotten what it was called. You would have seen it though. It's an R18 that came out. It was. You remember that film, Anna? What was it called?
Upgrade.
It was Upgrade. Yeah, it was a.
I think I heard of it.
Yeah, it was a great film. But this Sunshine Man's a little bit like that one. If you've seen that, so it's just sort of playing on the rosy tinted glasses and living in alternative realities and the trouble it can get you into. But yeah, no, Sunshine Man is a good little short, which is on YouTube if you look hard. And yeah, we want to extend that and the scripts they're waiting pretty much. I'd like to do a few changes to it, but it's a pretty fun little script, to be honest.
Well, Peter, it's been great to have you on the Celebrity Couch today. Before we conclude the interview, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, just thanks for talking to me. Look, I want more people to see Life in the Dead Zone. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. It's online. You can see it on Facebook or on YouTube. Just punch in Life in the Dead Zone. Yeah, you get two options. You get my one, or you get the story about the old nuclear explosion in Russia. What's that one? Chernobyl. Yeah. So either there's two things that come up. So just forget about the Chernobyl one. Go to the zombie one, and you'll be check it out. Share it, please. Just want more people to see it. Oh well, if you like this interview, please comment, share it around, and check out Life in the Dead Zone.
Now, if you want to see me take season 3 on the road, potentially in Auckland, where I have some awesome contacts, then jump over to our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/entertaininginterviews. And around that page, you will see a link on how you can support this channel to be able to make that happen. Hopefully you enjoyed Entertaining Interview Season 2. We had a whole ball of fun filming it. Once again, huge shout out to Tony McDonald from Plastic Groove for the venue and also for the audio engineering, one of our major sponsors, and our other major sponsor, Tim Simpson from Nitro Film, for sponsoring us with the gear. So, like I said, jump over to our Facebook page, check it out, jump in and help us out, take season 3 on the road, and hopefully we'll be seeing you guys again very soon.